All right. Good morning. Can everybody hear me? All right. All right. Good deal. All right. Well, it's 10 o'clock, so I guess we'll get started. If there's a couple extra people that come in, we'll pick up wherever they are. They'll just have to pick up the rest in the recording. But as always, we'll start off with basically the weekly wins. If you haven't taken the time to fill out the form, I think I send it out. Usually I try to send it out the day before, but it's only like 8 questions. As you can see across here, basically it's, how many leads did you get for the week? And we're typically, for this mastermind, not necessarily looking at the leads that you did prior to some of the stuff we're sharing with you, but using the techniques that we're teaching, where are you picking up leads from that? So if you're picking up leads, and what we're going to go over today, you're going to have a great opportunity to, well, first thing is to get your first video done. So if you haven't done one, this will be the first opportunity to do that. And then I'll kind of do a preview of week 4 because they kind of go together. If you haven't done Facebook custom audiences, or you haven't done a Facebook ad or anything like that, you're going to get your first introduction to that next week. But if you want a head start, there's nothing wrong with jumping ahead on the next week. But we'll go over that second. And then, of course, that's pretty much it. We don't want to spend a whole lot of time on the meetings, because we'd rather give you guys time to actually get this stuff implemented as opposed to a lot of discussion. If there is discussion, that will happen in the community. Hopefully everyone got logged into the community. They were able to get their listings leads account. If you don't have one, again, highly recommended. You'll see today why that's so necessary. Some people will have listings leads accounts and go with years of having them and don't do anything with them. And I found that a lot of that has to do because it seems a little complicated until someone shows you what you're gaining. And so that's kind of the whole purpose of the mastermind, is to open up those tools and let you see exactly what they're good for, so you're not as intimidated or worried about using them. But with that, we'll jump right into, we have a few people that filled out the form. Again, using techniques. Now, we are definitely open to hearing if you have other techniques that are working for you. So if you're comfortable with putting that on the spreadsheet, that's fine. Just that way you can share some of the things you have done that maybe we haven't opened up or talked about, or may not talk about. And that way we can reveal other methodologies to everyone in the group. All right, so starting with that, we have Esmeralda, you're up first. It looks like you had another good week. A few leads, clients, a couple of them documents signed, and both listings and on buyer side. All right, let me bring you up. All right, so how you doing, Esmeralda?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Okay, all right. Well, walk us through how you made all this happen.
Okay, so I experimented because I am not a video person. In your class, I was like, you were like, who likes to do video? Who doesn't? And I was like, not me. I hate video, but I love the prompter. It really helps. Like it felt different to do it that way because I didn't feel so nervous about what to say. So I had sent one out on last Saturday, just to a few friends to test it out. So 2 of my leads are from the videos. They sent it to a couple of their friends, and I met with them for buyer's appointments. So I have 3 new buyer leads. One I haven't met with. I don't meet with them until tomorrow. That wasn't from the video, but 2 of them are from the video. So that was me definitely stepping out of my comfort zone. Huge. I'm just not comfortable behind camera, but it was effective. They said it felt really, like my friends that I sent it to, my clients that I sent it to, said it was very personal and they really liked it. So that was really, really cool.
Absolutely. And now what did you record exactly? Was it from one of the scripts or?
Yeah, I created so I didn't realize you can like create your own script and kind of like, mess with it and massage it. So I created my own script, but I think that's always the nervous part, is like, I don't want to look down at something while I'm doing it. So you can kind of see where I'm looking, right? Like at a prompter, but not so much because my gimbal doesn't, I did it as far as I could. Right. So it wasn't like right on my face. And it was just of me here in my office. And I was just thinking about the market. If you know anybody that's potentially looking to buy, this is the time. Incentives are about to go away. So like that, just if you know anyone, send this to someone. So it was really short and sweet, but that was me just trying it. And so I showed my daughters and I'm like, should I send this one? And they're like, it's not completely refined, but just try it. So I just sent it to a couple of my clients, past clients, and it worked. So
Yeah.
Just, I needed that little boost of confidence to not be so afraid to be behind the camera.
And I think what you just shared is literally what everyone that's ever started or afraid of doing video is thinking. But that's the perfect testimonial. I mean, and here's the funny thing: like, I've always done like demos from team members for like years, and 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by, and just from the demo, not doing it consistently, all of a sudden leads start popping up out of nowhere, and I'm like, does anyone want these leads? Because I'm not planning to work them, and they're just like, where'd they come from when I did the demo? And so, yes, it doesn't have to be polished. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just get it out there.
Yeah.
And the old saying that I love to use when people start with anything is, you don't have to be great to get started, but you do have to get started to be great. So it doesn't matter what you've ever done in your life. I'm pretty sure most people are better a year later than they were the day they started.
Yeah.
So with that being said, yeah, fantastic. And it looks like
this is so huge to me. Like, I mean, this whole class is like probably the biggest blessing in my life, because that is such a big fear of mine, is to get behind video. I'm so worried about how I look, and I'm so worried that I'm being judged on the other end. And that just wasn't what they were doing. Like, for them, it was so much more personal, and they felt comfortable. So for me to even hear that I only sent it to 5 of my past clients, but that was just a big confidence boost, that it's okay. Don't worry so much about what they're seeing. Worry more about what you're saying and the message you're trying to get across.
So yeah, when you were in my training, I'm sure you remember I talk about that a lot. Your vibe attracts your tribe. So even if it was 2 out of the 5, that's cool. Not a big deal. But over time, you'll start realizing, like, out of the 3 that didn't, who knows? It's not that they're judging you. Maybe the message just wasn't right. So when you think about marketing, it's the right message, the right person, right time. And a lot of people don't realize, like, well, man, I didn't get a response. And I think the Instagram, the TikTok, the likes that everyone gets from these, marketing techniques, or some of them are just entertainment. And so they get to the point where they're like, well, if I didn't get a like, they must not have liked me. Like, that's not how I feel. Like, if I don't like your video, it doesn't mean I didn't like you. It just means it didn't get my interest. Or my attention. So there's no judgment. But no, you're absolutely right. You're starting to see, like, the journey of 100 miles starts with the first step. And that's basically the whole concept here. But yeah, fantastic. And you picked up a few listing leads as well?
Yeah, my listings were 2 previous clients that are wanting to sell their house and move out of state. And then one was she said she found me on realtor.com. I don't know, sometimes they don't really remember how they did, but that's where she said she found me. So she reached out, and I have her listing appointment right after this.
Outstanding. Yep. And that's literally what we're looking for. So yeah, great job. I mean, congratulations. I think
Thank you.
You basically epitomized exactly what we're doing here. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you for helping me step out of that, because that's always been my fear. I feel like I could have had a lot of business. I have great business now, but I could have had a whole lot more if I just would have done this out the door. So I appreciate it.
Now, the great thing you're going to learn about this is, and everyone, is when you start recording videos, they live forever. So as long as you got the content out there, someone has an opportunity to look at it. And the second thing we'll go over at a certain point is how to make sure you send all those videos to YouTube, because YouTube is basically where you're going to start picking up business organically, in a much different way. But you have to be consistent, and we'll get into that as we go. All right, but great job, Esmeralda.
Thank you.
All right, and then we'll bring up, looks like, Cherry. We got a few more deals from you.
Good morning. Good morning, Esmeralda. I want to say you just kind of gave me a big boost, because I have that horrible fear of the videos as well. And I come from a different generation, but I think I'm going to have to get on board with this and get over that fear. What I do want to ask her, though, if you don't mind, is how does she send that to her past clients?
Let me bring her back up, and let's find out. Let's see. All right, Esmeralda, you want to answer that?
Hey, Sherry. Yeah, I don't have an iPhone, and so most of my clients, we joke about it, because I have a Facebook group only for my clients. So like, whenever they become a client, the buyer, seller, whatever, they go straight into my Facebook. So I did all of these by Messenger, just so that the video quality was okay. So that's just how I sent it, was through Messenger. I wish I could have done it just through text, But I know that a lot of the times Android to iPhone just doesn't, it comes out blurry. So I sent it in Messenger. But since they're all in my Facebook group, in my client Facebook group, I did tell them, which, I kind of like, they're like my friends. So I told them, I'm going to start doing more videos. So be prepared, check your Messenger because I might send you a video. So I kind of put it out there last week, right after class. And I told him I'm in a mastermind. It's my assignment. Help me out. So I put that in my group, and then that's how I sent it, was Messenger.
Very good. Yeah, I love it.
Do a class before that everybody's got the same, I hate how I sound. And the instructor said, I'm going to ask y'all a question. Don't y'all talk to people? They hear how you sound. They already know how you sound, So I'm just going to have to get over that fear. So
Yeah,
and
that's
did
how
hear,
I felt. I literally just had to say, let me do this. And the prompter was the blessing, because I immediately seen myself and I'm like, oh, I look horrible, but I don't focus on that. I'm focusing on the prompter. So by the time I'm done with the video, I'm like, I didn't even look at myself. Like, I just got through it. So I wasn't focusing on that. So that the prompter was just like such a heaven sent. I loved it. I did probably 20 of them to try to figure out how to do it the best I could, but it's just, that was really helpful.
Yep.
well, I appreciate that. Thank you. So I got one buyer lead in this week, and it is from one of my sphere of influence. They actually live in Smithville, but they're moving back to my area and wanted to just chat with me and say, this is what we're going to be looking for. It's probably not going to happen till closer to the end of the year because of work. But I told her I would, start her a home search and start sending stuff to her. So they're coming in the end of June to be here to hear some music, and we're going to look at some places that I find for them at that point. So
Outstanding.
and then I've got one closing next week. So I didn't put that one in here because it was one in progress before I started, but it closes next week. So
Absolutely. And you can track that one next week or the week after, whenever it closes. We'll look at the results for that then. But no, it's exactly what we want to see. And I think what both of you guys are showing here is, the whole issue with video has always been that. So luckily today we have one of the very first people that I coached and trained, and now he's a broker. And I'll bring up Shane just shortly so he can kind of go through this stuff and share you guys. He has probably over 300 videos on YouTube now. And I'll let him tell you how long we've been talking about doing video and how important it is. So I'll bring Shane up and let him kind of walk us through that. Hey, good morning, Shane. You might have to unmute there.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Hey, good morning. All right. So yeah, just kind of walk everybody through. How long have we been talking about video, and how important has that been to your business?
Oh, it's been, well, we're going on like 5 years about when we talk about video, and it is definitely a step into the unknown when you've not done it before. And I had never done any kind of video or anything like that, but it all started with me wanting to do something different with getting feedback from my clients. So I would, of course, ask for permission and do an actual video with my clients and getting their feedback about their experience working with me, buying or selling, and that's where it started. And then it grew into just doing video of explaining who I am and how I work and what my end goals are with doing the very best for my clients. And that just finally dawned on me, like Julian said, we've been continually talking about it. It is just a massive leg up in the world of social media and just in this high tech type of atmosphere that we just unfortunately really can't get away from, and especially in real estate. And just started to make videos and, with education as the forefront of, in my mind of what I want to accomplish, and making sure that people understand this whole real estate world, where we're in it every day, but they're in it maybe once in their lifetime. The biggest thing to think about when it comes to the impact of video is that it is constantly running. You're asleep, you're on vacation, you're doing other things, with your family or whatever, but that video is always available, and it can impact people in just the greatest ways. And what I have found is that these videos being out there have really helped, pretty much taken a cold lead into at least a partially warm lead. So when you finally meet them and do your listing presentation, meeting them for the first time, they already have a sense of who you are, and that's why they're connecting with you.
Yep.
Versus just having a photo on Facebook on a post with, a description of, a biography of yourself. And so they get a sense of, oh, okay, all right, I like how they come across. I like how they speak. Oh yeah, no, we've got some similarities from where we grew up, or what things we like to do, or just how we think. And it can really help, really smooth things out, I guess, before you're even meeting with your new client.
Absolutely.
And that's
Now,
the biggest change I've seen.
absolutely. Now, Shane also went through my dynamic speaking and leadership training. After 3 days of going through that training, how much do you feel that helped as far as being able to speak, get your format down, and all that stuff when it comes to also not just speaking in front of people, but also on video?
Oh, it's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. What you learn from it, and how it impacts you. And the fact of the matter is, you can get a lot done in 3 days.
Right. And I'll bring Tanya up here in a minute. She went through it as well, but it doesn't seem like 3 days of speaking for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes changes you a lot, but it really does. And then you feel more comfortable speaking, and then your video quality changes too, because you're like, hey, I actually have a format when I speak, when I'm thinking, and when I'm talking, and all that stuff turns out to be, the synergy you need to make videos the best that you can. So, all right, Shane,
But
hey, we appreciate that. Oh, go ahead.
I'll just add to what any of us may think is a feature of our personalities that's, an imperfection, something that we don't necessarily want to show people, or feel like it's a glowing, aspect of our personalities that we want to show on anybody. That may be that imperfection that really connects you with those leads that you didn't even know were out there.
Very good
And
point.
so none of us are perfect. And you when you hear somebody, and it resonates with you, versus somebody else sounds like, sandpaper on metal or something, just, oh my Lord, that's, I don't want to hear anymore. That's fine. There are going to be people that are going to connect with you, and that is who you want to move your business forward with. And the people that don't want to connect, it's okay. It's okay. Just keep on moving forward.
Absolutely. All right, Shane. Hey, man, we really appreciate that feedback. And I know you've been doing this for a while. So for the ones who are just getting started, I want them to hear from someone who's experienced quite a bit of success from following these methodologies. All right. So that brings us up to Tanya. So we'll start with, before we get into your numbers, we'll get into, you went through the training as well, and now you are doing a lot of videos. How did the training help you when it came to speaking? And then, of course, I see that you're producing quite a bit of videos. And how do you feel, based on the feedback you've heard from these individuals so far?
Yeah, so I definitely feel like I've made a 180 just from taking that training that you had because, well, first of all, I didn't even want to consider taking such a training. So I was like, I would never want to do public speaking or video or anything like that. Like I never did. And this was in December of last year. Like if you would have asked me to take a public speaking training, I would have been like, no, that is stupid. Like I hate public speaking. I hate everything about it. I hate video. And then I had taken like another mastermind group and they were all really succeeding in the like media space, getting out there and doing videos and stuff like that. And so I have been a lot more consistent, way more comfortable. I even, was on a panel at our brokerage conference and felt so much better about it because of the training. Like the first one was awful and then it just got better after the second and third day.
Yeah, it's so funny because I remember everybody says the first one feels like it's, you're walking on pins and needles and it's only 5 minutes. And then the 15-minute one, they're like, that wasn't enough time. I could go longer. But yeah, it's interesting. How many people were you in front of at that conference?
There was about 30 at that one because we were in like a breakout session. So it was a good size room.
Yeah. So go from speaking to 1 or 2 people on appointments to all of a sudden 30 people in a room on a stage with a mic, right?
Yeah, it was very intimidating.
Yeah. But that's the difference. And once you're comfortable with an idea of how to speak, the format you're going to use, how did that transition into the video?
So now I actually have been doing videos every week and they're just more natural versus before, even with the teleprompter. I do use the teleprompter, but I'm able to use it easier than just kind of like reading and more personable, and people can feel like they relate to me more, I think, because of it. And then just being more comfortable in general. And I think really what comes along with it is practice. I mean, that's going back to your program, like getting out there and doing it and then continuing to do it every week. And sometimes I'll do like 2 a week. And that has made it so much better just by doing it. Like Ezzy was talking about her first one, like wait till your 20th one, you'll feel so much better.
Yeah. So, and that's why I always tell people, like, all this is going to make you a much different agent. And we don't really have a choice right now. As Shane was mentioning, it's just really no way for you to stay in the industry and not do video right now. And I've always told people, not only does your vibe attract your tribe, but this is also the way to overcome a lot of those objections that you run into. So people ask me all the time, like, how do you win a listing before you arrive? How do you win a buyer client before you arrive? Video. That's the answer. What does your pre-listing package look like? It should include video. If you have a pre-buyer rep meeting, start including video. When I started setting up a lot of my one of my campaigns had a 67% response rate, and we got it from 13 up to 67 by first split testing and learning all the messages that made the most sense. But what took it from 45 to over 60 was basically adding a thumbnail, and I mentioned this to you guys, that showed them where they met me, because that's the first thing they go, how did you get my information? Well, from the page that you submitted was on my Facebook page. Here's that thumbnail. So if your picture's in that thumbnail and it's something they can remember, obviously they're going to go, oh yeah, I remember filling that out on that page. And then the very next thing I did was made sure that the first text I sent said, make sure you check your email for the buyer's guide and the information I sent you. Now I'm adding video to that first message for them to go and look at some training or coaching on what it might be to market their homes. So if you guys saw my 5-minute video where I talk about how we use listing sleeves to market, you can record something similar to that. And mine was about 5 minutes, but you can do it for 1 or 2 and just, put together a quick little script using ChatGPT. We'll get into that in the future, but we'll have that exercise down the road where you can record a 5-minute video. Once you guys get more comfortable with these 20, 30-second ones, then we'll spread out to about 5 minutes and show you how to use listings leads to do that. And you can take those quick little videos you recorded, more of like a coaching session, and then share those with your clients. And it's going to take you even further. Now, all of that is to come, but that's what the whole mastermind is about. All right. And with all that, walk us through, you have one lead. How did you get that one?
Well, so I was on vacation the last week, so I didn't really do much. We just got back last night. And so the one buyer lead that I got was a sign call. He wanted to see one of my listings. And so he actually saw it last night. I just passed it off to a team member. I didn't.
Oh,
So, I mean, I guess an appointment was there. I just didn't do it. So hopefully you get an offer.
well, there you go. So, and as you guys can see, like I always tell people all the time, like listings to me are another way to generate buyer leads. Now, a lot of listing agents are like, I don't want to work those. I'll send them off to someone else. And when you're in that position, that's where you want to be. But a lot of times, if you look at the listings to leads format, you're going to see you can promote other people's listings. Like everyone here could promote Tanya's listings if it's getting a lot of leads. And she's like, hey, I'm not going to stop you from promoting my listing, because if you get someone that wants to purchase it, great. If they don't, well, then that's the benefit for you having this platform. But that's literally what we're looking at. I see Phyllis on here. I don't see her camera on, but if she looks like she had a pretty good week last week. So if she's ready, I'll bring her up as well.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on, Phyllis?
Not much. So the leads that I got for buyer leads are from my Google business profile.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a lot of traction now. I started my Google business profile, just updating it every day since September. So this week I got a lot of calls from that. A lot of them are investors. And then two of them are actually buyers from California, where they found me on YouTube. And then
the YouTube, was that from Google My Business or
from my business? They clicked on my YouTube link, and that's how I got them.
And you started doing a lot of video content recently, right?
Yes. Okay. So I'm doing mainly YouTube. So I have about 13 videos out now, and I'm working on one today. And and my focus is actually relocation for people that are wanting to move here to San Antonio. So I got one buyer appointment from California from those leads that I got. They're not really ready to buy now. They want to move here next summer. So I'm just going to keep following up. And, I hooked them up with a lender as well. So they're going to be ready to buy when they move here.
Absolutely.
Seller leads are from Facebook ads, from listings to leads. I put my listing under contract, or it's pending now. So I did an ad on that, and I got leads from that. 2 of them are good ones, and then I got a listing appointment out of it.
Outstanding. All right, great job, Phyllis. Yeah, and honestly, a lot of people are wondering, like, how good is the listings to leads platform? Have you had it? How long have you had it, and when did you really start taking it seriously?
I've had it for about 3 months, and what I did was, it was hard to learn, but what I did was I went through each menu or tab to just study it. Now I know how to use it. So now I'm just posting on my business page, and then I do the ads on my listings, and that's helped a lot.
Outstanding. All right, thanks, Phyllis. All right, so for everyone who's wondering, like, how does a platform help us? That's what it's all about. And so with that being said, I'm going to jump into that and kind of give you guys a quick preview of what that looks like. So for anyone who hasn't had a chance, of course, we've done the onboarding and everything. You should have signed up for all that, be part of the community. Now, as I said, I'm kind of going through this as we go. And you'll see this is a 9-minute video, but I'm going to do a short version. But step by step is here. It talks about literally how to record your short form video, where it comes from, and it gives you all the steps, and then upload the TikTok Reels, YouTube Shorts. So you've already heard enough testimonial to kind of give you an idea that video is pretty much, it's mandatory at this point. Like, if you want to stay relevant in this business and actually do really well, it makes sense to me that if you want to turn the faucet on full blast, see how good it can do for you, and then you're like, all right, I'm overwhelmed. Well, then you just turn the faucet down. But it doesn't work really well the other way around. If you're trying to get started and a little drip here, a little drip there, and going, well, I want to make sure I can handle it when it happens. To me, that's the opposite of how you want to do it. You want to be overwhelmed with the amount of people that are sending you business. And then at that point, scale back if you need to, because then, if I ever do need to turn it up, I know what it takes. Versus if you try to catch a little bit here, a little bit there, it really doesn't work nearly as well as just going through the process. But this is week 3. Week 4, we'll be going over. If you haven't had a chance, you just follow this tab and go through. So everyone who's kind of already caught up on the videos, this will show you how to set up your Facebook cover page and how to create a new one, how to use Canva to create images to give yourself, this brand. So if you think about branding, you really want to think about, your color scheme, your logo, how you market yourself. All of that is part of your persona. And the persona you present when it comes to branding, that's also going to be part of what you do in your YouTube, what you do in your Google My Business. And Phyllis did bring up some really good points about Google My Business and YouTube. So if you understand like congruency, that's the biggest difference. If your Facebook page matches your YouTube matches your Google My Business, you start running all these different ads, whether they're paid or organic, people just know it's you. So like I'm going to start blasting out listing content just to show people that, I've been doing buyer stuff for 5 years and I've never really focused on listings because I've never needed to. But just as a case study for myself, I'm going to switch over and I'm going to switch to a niche, not switch over, but add, like I said, stack. And I'm going to switch over to doing listings just to see how much this concept can change. Now, what's my logo going to be? It's going to be pocket more, way more. So that's what we call a unique proposition, unique selling proposition. So when I start branding myself on the listing side, that's what I'm going to use as my niche, my logo, my tagline, so to speak. It's going to basically say pocket more, way more. So all of my cards that I print, my postcards, my website, my Facebook page, my Google My Business, anywhere there's a place to put a tagline, that's what I'm putting. Pocket more, way more. And then and all the descriptions that I have to put out there, I'm going to talk about what that means. How do you pocket more money? How do you pocket way more money? And so if someone's asking, it really is a negotiation strategy to use if you're on the buyer side or on the seller side. You can literally tell people, when we get a lot of people that are making offers, there's obviously, I have a 4-step strategy. I'll eventually one day share that with people if we get to that level where everybody's staying with us for a while. But the listing strategy that I use, it's like a 4-part process. And I call it the multi-option listing platform. Basically, I start off with, when you're using one of those offer platforms for like iBuyer, you can't put it on the MLS. You have to start with that first. And then when you're talking, I'll say, well, I got numbers for you on cash offer. And they'll be like, oh, okay. And let's say they're looking for 250 and the cash offers for 215. They're like, no, that's way too low. Well, it's cash. It'll close in 10 days. That's tempting, but I really think I can get more. Absolutely. And that's when you start looking at the CMAs. I usually start about 10,000 under what I think the CMA will be. And then I go 10,000 over. And then we have that conversation and they say, well, I still think we can get more. I'm like, okay, well, I've already shown you what I think it'll go for, but no one knows what people will buy your house for. I remember doing right after COVID, and everybody was saying, what's wrong with these clients that think they know more about, the price of their home than we do. We're the freaking experts. And I was like, that's like a cardinal mistake. You can never, ever think like that. I'm sitting there going, if you don't know what's going on in your market, forget what the national market's doing. Forget all the stuff that they're talking about. What's happening in your market? What's happening in the neighborhood that they actually live in? Go do the research and see. Because if their house sold or houses in that neighborhood sold for 15,000, 20,000, 30,000 more than what they asked for the home, that's why they're saying that. And for all the agents who said, well, my CMA doesn't say that, it's like, what is the market telling you? And at that point, it's easy to say, well, yeah, we might be able to get 20,000 more than your house that we're asking. But what the numbers show right now from the data of previously sold homes is X, Y, and Z. But you're correct. It could sell for more. But just in case it doesn't, are you willing to back off by 10 grand every 2 weeks? Because what I'm going to do with you every single week is an update on what's going on with your property. And from there, you can kind of, walk them through the process. Now, everything I just shared with you guys, I have a whole video coaching series for listings. It's 5-part video series, and I walk people through all the little things that they can expect when it comes to their, selling their home. Now, I also have a listing presentation that's about 30 minutes long, and I recorded that too. So a lot of times going forward, especially with the way the buyer market is, and for everyone who is converting to new build specialist, buyers are going to be, at a premium. I highly recommend that you bring them to a Zoom meeting, and whatever presentation you have, you show them that presentation through your Zoom meeting. And that's going to make a huge difference. And then if you have a YouTube channel with a lot of videos on it, you want to make sure that they go there and binge watch your YouTube. My business, like you have now, people can actually go out there, take a look, binge watch, and then of course they're going to feel more comfortable with you. So you can see how this portion where we're talking about branding, creating your cover page, it's all all right. Let's say we had a little pause or freeze or something. But if your brand is congruent, then obviously people are going to remember you and they'll remember your tagline. So if you don't have a good tagline, think of one. My tagline for buyers is, "We don't tell you no, we tell you how." We've been saying that for years. And then we have a little speech that goes with it. So my speech or I call it elevator speech, but it's, "We don't tell you no, we tell you how." So just a little bit about us. If you have issues with credit, down payment, student loan issues, or anything of that nature that might prevent you from getting a pre-approval, we have solutions. And basically people are like, "Oh my God, yes. How do you help with student loans?" So your tagline, then your elevator speech should be something that overcomes people's objections before they even bring them up. And if you get really good at that, that's how people start looking at you differently. Like my presentations, when I go out in commercial, the last few people that I've taken out to shadow me, they're just blown away. Like the people will stop and go, "All right, we've heard your presentation, but before you finish, is there any way we can sign with you to make sure we don't lose you?" And I'm like, "Sure." Right. And of course, my team members are going, "I've never seen that in my life." I'm like, it just started happening. It was like last summer, but I gotten so good at my presentation. And I realized there's one thing that changed that I was doing differently. I went from like teaching mode to getting annoyed with people when they didn't listen to me. I was like, do they not realize what I'm doing is for their own interest? And that's when it hit me. I need to make sure they understand this is for their own interest. And I was like, going forward, I'm going to be a lot more passionate about how I present this information. I'm not going to be holding back. Like, do you guys understand like why you need an agent? I'm like, if you don't use me, you're crazy. Like that's literally how I felt. And I changed my message to kind of reflect that, of course, in a very passionate but friendly way. And all of a sudden people are like, "How do we get you to do this for us? Oh my God, can we get you to, can we sign something so we don't lose you?" And I'm like, wow. But that's how I feel about new builds. And so whenever I take clients out, I'm like, "Excuse me?" Like, no. I don't think new builds are built like they used to be. Well, you know what? As a real estate agent and you're a professional, I don't mind showing you any house in the market, but I really don't ever want you not to see a new build, because I'd be remiss in my duties if I didn't show you. And then somewhere down the road, one of your friends showed you that they bought a new build and I never showed you one. And you're like, "Why didn't you take me out?" Well, because you as the consumer convinced me not to. Like, who's the expert? Like a consumer's not going to do that to me. So I make it clear through my message and my passion that, hey, this is what we're doing and we're going to follow this plan. Does that work for you? It doesn't? Well, I'm going to show you a new build anyway, because I need you to see it just to make sure we can eliminate that. Because don't you go through and look at like 15, 20 other homes? You actually do drive-bys. I tell you to do the due diligence. Don't you eliminate a whole lot of other homes before you decide on the one you want? That's true. So how about we look at one new build? Just one. And if it doesn't work, I mean, what's the harm? Oh, there isn't any. Awesome. And then you take them to show a new build and they go, "I love this house. This is my 11. Uh-huh. Yep. Kind of figured it would be." And that's been the experience over and over and over and over. But based on what's going on in the market and this NAR lawsuit, that's kind of why I'm like, yeah, I understand, but new builds kind of it will bail you out of these hard times right now. So if you don't see that as a benefit, start thinking of it a little bit differently. Yes, you can always sell pre-owned. The only way you can be a new build specialist is to really understand the difference between pre-owned and new build. And we'll go through that a little bit later in the program. but that's kind of the whole concept. But right now, I want everybody to get comfortable with video. And with that, I'll open up the listings to leads page and kind of show you guys like why, you know, it's not as intimidating as you might think. All right, hopefully, I don't know if I'm gonna play any videos in here. I think you can hear the sound. All right, so as you see here, I always say, like Phyllis said, you can go through step by step, right? Now, you're doing listings, you want to post the listing and just follow the marketing plan. But what you'll learn is every time you open up one of these tabs, that's what's going to happen. But to me, to get started, all we want everyone to do is go to PDF guides. And then from PDF guides, pick one. And in the instructions, it says pick 3, but you got to start with 1 before we get to 3, right? So what I talk about in the video, like you can always go here if you just want to work on buyers. I highly recommend starting with buyers. You get more leads that way. And then we'll show you how to market it. Now, I will tell you, if you market through Facebook on the buyer's guides, you won't get anywhere near as many leads as you will through the listings. And we'll talk about that here in a second. But let's say that we're new construction specialists. Well, there you go. You got a guide for that. So the easiest video you can record is just click market, click short form video script. And if you don't have the teleprompter app on your phone already, Listening Leads uses the exact same one I use. I didn't pick it because of Listening Leads. I was using it years before I even knew they had this. So I was like, man, that's great coincidence that the very app that I use is the one they promote. So all you do is follow these instructions, open it up on your phone. First thing you want to do is send it to yourself, click send, and it'll send it to you. Open it on your phone, literally like it's telling you right here, open on the phone, copy it, put it in the teleprompter app, edit it as necessary, and then just record. Now, once you record, you have the video, you can upload it to multiple places. But if you come here and you follow the plan, you continue, it'll say Facebook and Instagram ads. If you wanted to take that video and replace it, you can go to lead ads and it'll tell you that you can replace this ad. So replace this image with the video. So as you see, change image/video. So the one you just recorded, you can use this exact same presentation or this ad and just replace it with your video. Video is going to get you a lot better results than this page here. But if you're not sure, then run both. Run this one for $5 a day and then run another one for $5 a day. This campaign, it automatically stops after 7 days. So it's $5 a day for 7 days. That's $35. If you happen to run one with video, so you ran 2 ads, that'd be $70 for the week. You spent $10 a day. And then you can kind of compare and contrast and see, does this image work better or does my video work better? Now, from my experience, buyer's guides really don't help a lot with lead generation, but I think they'll do a whole lot for you when it comes to follow-up messages. So if you have a landing page, which we'll go to next on the PDF guides, you can run these ads, send these out to your database that you have already. So once you record these videos, you can repurpose them. And that's the reason why I want people to kind of get used to the idea of doing, you know, these PDF guides, because I think they're the most value. Even though they may not generate leads from Facebook ads, they will definitely be a value offer to your clients. So now I can go back to my buyer's guide, my new home construction guide, and I can send this guide to people who have given me their information. Or if I'm using, like I told you last week about the Facebook Marketplace, if you haven't had a chance to use those, we'll dive in that again. But if I wanted to send this out to anyone in an email, I would just go straight to the landing page. And now you have a landing page where if someone's asking, like, how do I know you are someone legitimate, right? Well, here's how. You get their name, put them in an email, and then you include this link. That's what I was mentioning. You can include something of value, a buyer's guide, a new home construction guide. Imagine you have all these links. All you do is copy the URL, put it in your email along with whatever message, and then you send that out in your CRM. So if everyone's using Lofty, like those of us with LPT, you put this link in the follow-up message, they click it, and they can actually pick up a guide. They just got value from you. So if you record a video and as well. Now they have a video with you in it on top of that. So that's basically how you make that work. And if you think about it, this is also video, but I would always try to replace videos with something with you in them, even if it's just 20 or 30 seconds. But hopefully that all makes sense. I will show you like the listing side for a second, and then we'll wrap this up. But as you see here, I mentioned the PDFs because I think they're a valuable tool because you can offer people something. But if you want to actually generate the business that comes into the CRM, then going with the listing module is going to work way better. So you pick a listing, and once you load up that listing, as Phyllis just mentioned, there's a lot of things you can do to market those. So as you see here, you just walk through these tabs. Now, the very first one is Facebook and Instagram ad. These generate a lot of business. Now, what Phyllis was mentioning to you, if you go to listings to leads and you go to the tab, every time that house goes through a different stage, you want to run a different ad. So it'll tell you like open house, coming soon, just listed, pending, just sold. Every single phase, you should be running another Facebook ad. And if you do that through all those phases, then what you're going to notice is you're picking up leads in every phase. And some are going to be more seller oriented versus buyer oriented. When you get to the point where it's under contract, pending, or sold, a lot of times you're going to pick up more listing leads than buyer leads. But those other stages up until that point, you're going to pick up mostly buyer leads. So hopefully everyone understands the value. And if you're like, what's the marketing plan? You're looking at it. Mark Facebook ads, social media posts, share on seller social media. That's a great one there. If you want to know how to pick up really good referrals, ask the seller that you're working with to share your ad on your social media post, share that on with their Facebook group. And if you get in the habit of doing that over and over, you're going to notice that your page grows more, your referral database is going to grow like crazy. And then all you're going to need from that point forward is, email the seller's SOI. So once that happens, you're in business. And this is great stuff. I don't care what niche you're in. It's going to help you when you start working with sellers. But again, seller leads are a little bit harder to come by. So I always market for buyers. And just keep in mind, when you're working with buyer leads, 40% of them usually have a home that they own. They just may not be in the market to sell it. That may be more like 10% of the 40%. So if you have 40 people, maybe 4 or 5 of them are ready to sell that year. And that's fine, because if you don't market for buyers, then you're going to miss out on that portion as well. But hopefully everyone got a lot out of the training. Did you guys get a lot of good nuggets today? All right. And I appreciate everybody who gave input. And if you have any follow-up questions for any of the people that had content and shared their information today, by all means, make sure that you log into the community. And if you don't have access, email us, let us know, text us, so we can make sure we add you. But make sure you go there and ask those questions to other people. That way they can give you the details. That way we can share and we can grow from each other doing it that way. All right. And I'll see if Tanya has anything she wants to share. And then from there, we'll wrap it up. Anything, Tanya?
No, I think that just do the assignment for this week and you'll see a lot of good results. I think that's probably the biggest thing I want to say.
Outstanding. All right. Well, from me and Tanya, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next Thursday.